Welcome to the Ubuntu Room, where we talk all things personal empowerment, all things spiritual development, and everything in between. A place where we recognize that the power is in our hands to create the lives that we desire, and that everything we seek is actually within us. So whether you're peeking around the corner with curiosity, or you're sitting in the thick of it with your own spiritual development, I have a feeling there's something here for you. So grab your notebooks, people, and let's get to it. Hi, my name is Dana Sardano, and this is the Ubuntu Room. I am so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me. For those of you who are new to who I am and what I do, the Ubuntu Room is a place where we talk all things personal empowerment, all things spiritual development, and everything that falls in between. It's where we recognize that the power is in our hands to create the lives that we desire. And that personal empowerment and spiritual development are actually very much intertwined, with each of us on our own journey of self-discovery, falling somewhere on that spectrum. It's my hope that by having these conversations, maybe I meet you where you fall, and perhaps we travel together. So for those of you who've been following along, we've been talking a lot about our guidance. I call it our personal GPS, about how our beliefs shape our reality and understanding our emotional guidance and our physical guidance. And I touched on, in one of my episodes, the chakra system. And then I let it sit because it needs some time, it needs some attention. And today, I really want to focus on it. So if you have not yet, please grab your notebooks. So, here is why the chakra system is important. Our chakras are the 7 energy centers within our bodies. Now, everything is energy. And if you subscribe to that and you understand that everything is energy, then we are connected. Our energy centers are connected to that energy. And also, if you subscribe to a greater energetic force, a creative force, God, if you will, or maybe you call it the universe, or you call it Hashem, or you call it Allah, whatever it is you call it, you likely subscribe to a powerful, creative being that has created us. But if we're all energy, we are all fractals or connected to that creative force. So our energy centers, our chakras, when they are running and spiraling smoothly, then we are of that divinity and we are receiving the most powerful creative energy so we can create our lives. But when our chakras are stunted or clogged or bogged down with the trials and tribulations of life, then we don't realize our truest potential. And that's why I like to talk about the chakras. That's why I get all excited. I'm about to sit up and get real close to the camera. But that's why I talk about this. Because when we understand how to navigate our energy centers, when we understand the aspects of self, of ourselves, that correspond with the different energy centers, and what they look like when they're balanced, and what they look like when they're out of balance, and how to bring them back into balance, the lives that we create are beyond your comprehension. So that's my why. That's why we're talking chakras. That's why it's important, because you know yourself, know thyself, and you will know freedom. With that said, I'm going to go through the chakras from the rooter to the tutor, I like to say, but from the root chakra to the crown chakra, to give you a better understanding of what each of them does and how it does it, and to recognize maybe your own imbalances so you can bring them back into balance. And again, I can't stress enough, grab your notebook, because if this resonates with you at all, this takes the work of self-discovery. And it's kind of like paint by numbers. It makes it a little bit easier. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, let's talk root chakra. Your root chakra is represented in red, and it's located where you're sitting, in your foundation, your root. The greatest age of resonance of the root chakra is from 0 to 7 years old. And the aspects of self that correspond with the root chakra are like safety, security, grounding, stability, health and wellness in your body. And when your root chakra is out of balance, you'll see it through insecurities, instability, general fears. Again, difficulty, like health in your well-being, in your body. So when you see manifestations of this in your life, insecurities at work, however that manifests, insecurities in your relationships, however that manifests, it stems back to that root chakra. Now, the reason the greatest age of resonance being 0 to 7 is so valuable here, because when you see these imbalances in your life, you could trace it back to those years of development. It's really the psychology. I'm all about the practicality of these chakras. So, if between the ages of 0 to 7, you've had inconsistencies or expectations that hadn't been met and you hadn't properly processed them, or even traumas or experiences that you didn't properly work through, it could create an imbalance in that root chakra. And what we do is we develop at that stage of development, 0 to 7, we develop beliefs about that at that age level that we bring into life that we may not have checked at the door, or coping mechanisms to help get our needs met. So that is the foundation of all things. And it's really worthy of looking at. So that is your root chakra. A good affirmation for the root chakra is I feel safe, secure, and grounded. And that could be a step in really bringing that root chakra into balance. Now, the next chakra that builds on the root chakra is your sacral chakra. And your sacral chakra is located, I always joke, in your no-no place, but in your reproductive area. It's represented in orange. And the greatest age of resonance for the sacral chakra is from 7 to 14. Now, this is a big deal because this is pre-adolescence into adolescence. And the aspects of self that correspond with that sacral chakra are your feelings of enjoyment, joy, your feelings of creativity, passion, excitement, your sensuality, your sexuality, your sense of intimacy. And if you have had something that has occurred during that time period, again, that you haven't properly processed, or a trauma perhaps, or maybe even building on an imbalanced root chakra, those aspects of self may be out of balance. You may have intimacy concerns, or you may lack creativity or not engaging your creativity, or you may feel guilt for enjoying things in life, or shame around, again, your sexuality or your sensuality. This is really about your sensations, about feeling joy. And the big one for me is understanding that you're the creator of your reality. But if you have feelings of victimization because of your instability and your insecurity and your lack of feeling safe from your root chakra, or even, again, something that might have happened during those sacral years, that's going to create these feelings of victimization that you don't feel you're the creator of your reality. So between your root and your sacral, that's the first 14 years of your life. A good affirmation for your sacral chakra is, I am the creator of my reality. I create. So the next one, and this is really important because these 3 chakras are your foundational chakras, is your solar plexus chakra. And your solar plexus chakra is located in your belly, in your solar plexus. And it's represented in yellow. And the greatest age of resonance of your solar plexus chakra is from 14 to 21. That's later adolescence. And the solar plexus is all about your age of identity, your drive, your confidence, your worthiness, your empowerment. But again, broken record hour with Dana Sardano, if the other things are out of balance, if there's imbalances that haven't been reconciled between 0 to 14, or if you've had issues that have not been reconciled from 14 to 21, it will affect your sense of identity. Think about that age. Think about that age. Think about what it was like when you were figuring out who you are, who you were. Remember, know thyself and you'll know freedom. And as you're figuring it out, if you're bumping into things and you're failing at things and life could be uncomfortable, but if you're not reconciling or properly processing the emotions while this is happening, you can then have imbalances, creating coping mechanisms, creating new beliefs that don't serve you moving on. You can feel self-doubt, needless worry, disempowerment. And in order to pursue your passions, sacral chakra, you must have balance within all of these. A great affirmation for the solar plexus chakra is I am empowered to, or I'm worthy of, and empowered to pursue my purpose. So think about these first three chakras as the foundation to everything that you're bringing to your life. So when you are so just take a second and just look around. Look at your relationships. Look at your romantic relationship. Look at your relationship with your kids. Look at your home. Look at your job. Look at your feelings in your body. Really look at how you are experiencing your world. And if there are things in your life that aren't serving you, you could likely trace them back to some of these imbalances. It's a lot of work, I'm not going to lie, and it's not for the faint of heart to go digging in there. But I promise you that your experiences that aren't working for you currently are manifestations of these beliefs and coping mechanisms and imbalances from these chakras. It truly is a roadmap. So, with that said, we're going to go to commercial, and on the other side, we're going to talk about the upper chakras, and that's the magic. When we have the stability in the lower chakras, we revel in the magic. When we go to commercial, just, tune in. If what I'm saying resonates with you, just take a look and take a listen, because I offer some resources that assist. So if you're like, oh my God, I don't even know where to start, check it out. I'll see you on the other side.
Ready to stop playing small and finally step into your power? Grab the 10 Rex trilogy written by Dana Sardano for badass personal growth warriors who are done settling and ready to evolve. 10 Recommendments for Personal Empowerment gives you the tools to create real change, break limiting patterns, and become empowered in every area of your life. Then Beyond the 10, Decoding the Woo-Woo, helps you make sense of all the magical, mystical, and what the hell is happening to me moments that show up once you begin your spiritual journey. And when you're ready for the ultimate transformation, you've cracked the code. The Woo is you. Takes a deep dive so you can create a life that feels aligned, grounded, and fully yours, because the Woo isn't out there. The Woo is you. The 10 Rex trilogy is available in paperback, ebook, and audiobook at ubuntufishgallery.com. And fun fact, every audiobook is narrated by Dana Sardano herself, with all the sass, soul, and woo included. No extra charge.
What if learning didn't just teach children, but helped heal, empower, and awaken the whole child? Veda Finds Her Crown, written and illustrated by Dana Sardano, is a fun, interactive experience for adolescent children, blending a relatable story with a hands-on workbook that invites them to read, reflect, and apply Veda's journey to their own lives. Paired with the 9-week chakra-based curriculum and accompanying deck of cards, children explore self-awareness, emotional regulation, and confidence through creative cross-curricular learning while addressing the needs of the whole child. Because, after all, when we educate the whole child, we empower the whole human. To grab a copy, a deck of cards, or the whole kit and caboodle, go to ubuntufishgallery.com.
You're watching the Ubuntu Room with Dana Sardano. For more information about Dana's artwork and resources, go to ubuntufishgallery.com. You be you, NTU, fishgallery.com. All right. Welcome back to the Ubuntu Room. So this is where it starts to get interesting. we have been talking about the foundational chakras, and none of that is fun. Nobody wants to talk about insecurity and self-doubt and guilt and shame. But when those chakras start to be brought back into alignment and they become balanced and those aspects of ourselves become balanced, and then we bring that to the world, then everything else starts to change. So the next chakra is your heart chakra, located in your heart space. It's represented in green, and the greatest age of resonance is 21 to 28 years old. Now, everybody knows the heart is about love. But the heart chakra is about loving without conditions, without expectation. It's about, these are the big ones, you ready? Freedom of resentment, freedom of judgment, compassion, the big one, forgiveness. And when we are balanced in our foundation, I wouldn't say these come easy, but they show up. When I feel safe and I feel worthy, I am more likely to have compassion for another because I've processed my experience. And the thing that is so important and powerful about the heart chakra is it is the portal to all things. You have your 3 foundational chakras. You have your heart, that's the portal. And the health of, again, the foundation, but the health and the functioning of that heart chakra, the upper chakras, it's contingent. Their functioning is contingent on the heart. So when we are able to have compassion for another or forgive another, and it's hard. It's hard. Forgiveness is divine. And let me tell you something, just a little rule of thumb, you're not forgiving for them, for those who wronged you, for the trespassers. You're forgiving for your own wellness. So when you do forgive and you do feel compassion and you are free of resentments, then your throat chakra, represented in blue, in your throat area, greatest age of resonance is 28 to 35. And the aspects of self with the throat chakra are all about your expression, your communication, your ability to listen without judgment, your ability to communicate respectfully, your integrity, because you say what you mean and you mean what you say, speaking your truth, living authentically. Living authentically is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself and humanity. Because everything that I'm saying about the chakras and how bringing them back into balance, it's true for all of us. It is a blanket statement. None of us are immune. We all have these energy centers, but we are all unique at the same time. We're like snowflakes. Each one of us has quirks and gifts and things about our personalities and things about the way we look that nobody else can match. And if we feel fearful or unworthy or have self-doubt and resist bringing that to the world, we're not only doing ourselves a disservice, but we're doing the world a disservice. So your authenticity is your superpower. And in order to live in the most authentic state, you have to have an open heart and you have to live with a strong foundation. Which brings me to your third eye chakra, right between the eyes, represented in indigo or purple. And that is all about your sense of discernment, your vision, your clarity, your ability to see parts to a whole, your ability to have a pattern recognition. Remember, right here, this is your executive functioning, but it can get stunted. Your awareness, your consciousness in your third eye can be stunted if these other things are imbalanced. A lot of people think the third eye is all about like magic and mystical stuff, and that may be true. That may be true, but really it's about having the clarity because you've released the fear of what you carried previously. And the third eye chakra has to be connected to your sense of authenticity, to your open heart, to your ability to have compassion. They all work in concert. And lastly, the connector to all energetic forces is your crown chakra, represented just above the top of your head, represented in lavender or white. And the crown chakra, the greatest age of resonance is 42 to 50. And it's really about understanding our oneness, understanding that each of us is a fractal of a greater energy source, and we are all a collective. And when we become non-attached, again, part of the crown chakra, understand presence and connectedness with nature and all things, we can then see our oneness connected to our compassion of our heart and our discernment and our authenticity and our worthiness and our passion for life and our feeling safe and secure. When all of that is in line and we are connected to that greater source of energy, we then truly understand our divinity. And then we could bring that to the world. And together, if each of us do that, that's how we make the world a better place. So am I excited about chakras? Yes, very much so. Because it's not just about understanding ourselves and understanding that we're energy, but it's understanding it in pieces, which I hope makes it a little bit less daunting. So what I suggest, because when I talk about the practicality of the chakras, I always go for the heavy lifting. It's kind of how I roll. Oh, I'm going to give me the toughest stuff you got, but the heavy lifting can be hard sometimes. But I'm going to give you some hot tips in the interim. So when you're doing that work, and sometimes it does feel daunting, especially when you're going back retroactively, doing it in real time is kind of hard, but going back is the work. So I'm going to give you some stuff you could do that keep it fun, keep it interesting. I printed a list because I don't want to forget. So I'm just going to go through some hot tips for each chakra that you could do right here, right now, and again, make this whole process fun and interesting. So hot tips for the root chakra. Get some exercise. You don't have to run a marathon, but go outside, jump up and down, move your body. Eat some foods that make you feel good. You know what makes you feel crappy and what makes you feel good. Eat some things that make you feel good. Do some stretching. Our issues are in our tissues. So sometimes the energy gets stuck. If we stretch and we move that energy, our body, our vessel, we take care of it, it will work for us. Hot tips for the sacral chakra. When you're doing something, experience the sensations. Be in the moment. We're always so far outside of ourselves. We're on our phone when we're eating. Put the phone down. Feel the texture of the food in your mouth, the taste of it. Go outside, smell the air, feel the breeze. Have some creative outlets. You don't have to paint or write or make music. Knit a sweater, cook a meal, create something. You will feel better for it. Hot tips for the solar plexus chakra. Practice self-care. That could be anything from taking a bubble bath to saying no unapologetically, setting some boundaries. Care for yourself, because if you want people and experiences in your life that show you care, you must first take care of yourself. Love yourself for your quirks. Again, we all have a little bit of weird. I'm sure there's somebody in your life that has said something about you that has made you insecure. That is probably your gift. So don't dull it for the comfort of others. Revel in it. Love yourself for your quirks. And engage in activities that you love. Just do something fun. I picked up a paintbrush just for Haas 11 years ago. Look at me now. Do things that are fun, that make you feel good. Don't forget to enjoy your life. Hot tips for the heart chakra. Show yourself grace. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to your children if you were supporting them or a friend. Make choices that reflect self-love. Why would you treat yourself in a way that you wouldn't treat somebody you cared for? And express love through words, through touch, through food, through kindness. Learn your love language and then speak it. Hot tips for your throat chakra. Ask yourself, do my words match my deeds? If they don't, match them. Ignore your critics. Remember, only you get to be you. Cut out the noise. And mean what you say what you mean. Remember, integrity is everything, especially if you want to feel good about yourself. Your third eye chakra. Be imaginative. Allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to envision what you want. Don't be afraid, because that vision is the first step in taking action to what you want out of life. Recognize that everything is cause and effect. And if you could look back to see what got you here, then you can predict what's coming. It's not magic. It's cause and effect. And pay attention to your dreams. They got a lot to say. I've made some pretty heavy life decisions based on what my dreams told me. If you get up in the morning and you start paying attention to your dreams, you'll start to see symbolism. Write it down. Write it in the notes on your phone. But you will be surprised. And lastly, your crown chakra. You're not going to like this. Meditate. Nobody wants to do it, but give yourself that time in quiet, even if it's 5 minutes. Bring clarity to yourself. You don't have to do it with sound bowls and music and crystals. You don't have to do all that. Just give yourself the time in quiet. Nurture your spirit. Go outside. Be in nature. And you know what I like to do? I like to create clarity for myself every morning when I get up before I pick up my phone. Just lay there in that quasi state, maybe play a little bit in my dream state, when you're kind of in and out of it, and really just try to ground myself and bring clarity before I start the day. And at night, I like to do the same thing, put my doom scrolling down and give myself a little time before I go to sleep to just see what works, and not get in my head, but just kind of just make sense of everything and create clarity. These are some simple things you can do. If any of this resonates, I write more about this in the books that I've written. You can go to my website, ubuntufishgallery.com. That's UBUNTU, fishgallery.com. And I have something there for everybody. If you're just coming out of the gate and you're like, what the hell am I doing here? I need to make a change and I don't know how. You got 10 commandments for personal empowerment. If you actually have started a spiritual journey, and you're like, what does all this stuff mean? Alignment, manifestation, what is this? There's decoding the woo-woo. If you're in the thick of it and you really want to do the work, there's You've Cracked the Code, the woo is you. I've got books for kids, Veda Finds Her Crown, talk about chakras. I've got early readers, I've got cards, I've got all sorts of stuff. I have created resources, again, I'm a teacher at heart, my background's in education, to help make this not so difficult for you. So if you're ready and you want to make some changes in your life and you understand you're worth it, solar plexus chakra, by the way, take a look, ubuntufishgallery.com. And until next time, Ubuntu. Thank you for tuning in to the Ubuntu Room. And more importantly, for taking another step toward a better you. See you next time. And don't forget your notebook.